Welcome back to Wild and Free Art and another episode in my series of Shop Your Trash. And today we are going to be making little mini Christmas booklets, notebooks, mini journals. Got this one too with different papers in it. Out of these. These were little boxes that had hot chocolate in them. Christmas time. Came with hot chocolate. And I just loved it. They were so cute. And so I thought they would make some really lovely little books, little booklets. So I've done a couple test ones with two different bindings. I liked the idea of making them chunky. So with this one, I just used the original size, but I feel like, I don't know, I mean, it's okay. So I'm gonna make one like this, and then in this one, I folded the spine a little bit smaller and made fewer signatures, and I just did a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And in this one, I kind of just crisscrossed the signatures, and I think it came out really nice. So I thought it would be nice if you came along with me as I make a couple of these little books from these little cute tea boxes, hot chocolate boxes. So yeah, let's get started if I have all my bits. Scissors are right in front of me. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is going to be the chunky one, I think. So first I am just going to open that, cut that off. Okay, set it to the side. And then I'm just going to give this a little trim to make it even. Okay, so this is all good. So it's just this one that needs to be trimmed. So yeah, I've decided to give another craft fair a go, but this one's a Christmas one, so I'm hoping that it will be a little bit more successful than the last one. So it's still a village hall one. Unfortunately, I can't really afford to go to the more expensive ones yet. But hopefully I will soon. I'm just getting, I guess, my craft fair feet on me. So I decided to give it another go and then and see if this one goes a bit better. So yeah, this is the back of my Christmas craft pad, and the red is just perfect. So I've been using that to make the backs of these because, I mean, I could have used it like this, I suppose, but then I would have had to cover it again, and it would have, I did try that on this one, and then it got really, really thick and heavy and chunky, so I didn't really like how it came out. I prefer how this one came out, actually. So I'm going to do it again in that way. There we go. Let's give it a little snip. Ruler. A little bit more than 8.5 centimeters, 3 and I don't know how much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Three and 3/8 I'm gonna go with. Let's see. Perfect. There you go. So I do want to strengthen my spine a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this flap off. And I will glue this one back on top. Keep that fold and then glue this one here. And that way it has the strength of the hinges and it opens just the right amount. So here we go. Oh, you know, I thought I'll do one of these craft with me things because, you know, that way I can, you know, have a good chat with everyone and stuff like that. And now I'm feeling kind of weird and self-conscious that I'm just sitting here talking to myself, really. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody else have that? But I know lots of people do it and they have really lovely conversations, and I watch a bunch of channels doing it, and I really enjoy it, you know, listening to other people. But me, I feel I'm a bit, I'm just weird. I don't know. Kind of, I call myself a extroverted introvert. Because I like being with people, but I also love being alone. And I, okay. And yeah, I feel like I get overtired if I hang out with people too much, if that makes sense. And so I find it a bit exhausting. So I think being behind the camera like this is good for me. I'm sorry, just having some of my tea before it becomes ice cold. Giving this a second to... There we go. And now, just to give these a bit more strength, I have somewhere some washi tape to just stick down into the hinge. And it will also kind of hold it in place, especially this one that I've glued on for now. And I'll do the same on this side. I mean, obviously anyone can do it however they want, right? This is just how I decided to do this one and stuff, but the idea is just to kind of hopefully inspire you to give it a go. Okay, and what I've been doing with them all has been using some nice Christmas fabric that I got in some Happy Mail and covering the spine with it, which I think gives it kind of more of a festive air, and also it gives it a little bit more strength for the spine, because that's the part of the book that gets used the most. So I'm gonna do that. For these ones, I use this cute little Christmas tree one, but I thought that for these two, these little houses would be adorable because they kind of echo this gingerbread house and the gingerbread houses on these. So I'm going to try with this one, which I also got in Happy Mail, and I do not remember who I got it from. So if it was you, thank you so much. I love it. And it's come perfectly handy for this festive season. So I figured that for this craft fair, I should make some things that are a little bit, you know, kind of proper Christmassy. Okay, but before I do that, let's not forget, I like rounding the corners on this one, so I'm going to do that. There we go. And I'm going to give them a little ink just to get rid of the white. Okay, and although I'm covering the inside with other paper, I still like to give it an ink in case anything shows through and it kind of blends it together. All right, now we go back to the fabric. So I like to make sure I've covered this whole tab that I've used here, and then I kind of just let it go onto the front as it is. I don't want too much of it on the front because I like the actual design. And then make sure that you've kind of bent the book as well when you're adding fabric to the spine, because that way it won't be too stiff and crack into the wrong position once you've finished with it. Right. So I can talk. So now I am going to start, while I wait for that to dry, making the lining for inside the book. And yeah, I'm gonna go all red. I think it just matches with everything. So I'm just going to get my ruler again, if I can find it. I really cannot handle my disorganization. It's just something else, really. So I'm going to measure from here, the crease, and just a little tiny bit off. So that's going to be 6.5. By 8.5. So that's the front cover. That's the back, and the front should be the same. Yes. And yes. And the spine again, just between those two creases. So I'll say 4.5. And then 8.5, because that's the height. So now, turn that to centimeters. Get my tea. So height, 8.5. Okay, and then I'm going to need 2 that are 6.5 and 1 that is 4.5. So there's my 4.5. That's for the spine. And then 6.5. And 6.5 again. Okay, now, where did I put it? Oh my God, really? Here. Nope, that's not it. I can't believe I'm so bad at this. Honestly, there it is. Okay, we're good. So that looks good. This looks good. This looks tiny bit. Needs a little tiny trim. Come on. There we go. That's good. I haven't even checked if I'm actually in the frame right now. Okay, I still am. That's good. So now, because I've curved the edges, I'm going to do the same thing on these two. Curve the corners rather than the edges. And I'm going to ink everything up so it's all kind of nice. I mean, if you wanted to, you could even add a little closure. If you're going to add like a ribbon here and here, I would suggest adding it before you add these. But I'm not. I'm just going to wrap them in a nice little ribbon when I sell them. Just some simple ribbon. Just like before, I'm going to just glue everything in with my glue in a jar. And all I'm going to try and do is line up this side with this side, basically, and make sure that I fold it so that I'm sure that it's in the right place with the crease. Okay. I made a boo-boo. Come on. Line it up straight. That's better. Okay. Okay. And there we go. Number one is done. How cute is it? I love it. So now I'm going to let this fully dry before I fiddle with it too much. And I think it's time to try and do the cinnamon one. And this time with this one, I'm going to try and make a smaller spine for it. So that just to change it up so it's not so chunky, because maybe not everybody wants a chunky journal notebook thing. So step one is going to be to trim everything off. Okay, and then we're going to cut this piece off. And am I even in? Okay. And then I think the best way to make this smaller is going to be just to score it. I do not have my scoring tool, but I have a pen. That will do. So, I don't know, shall we make it an inch? A 1-inch spine? Half an inch? Half an inch might be a bit too small. I'll go with a 1-inch spine. Use the tools you have at hand. Why not? So now that's gonna score to the right spot, and I'm just gonna trim off a bit of the excess on this because we don't really need all of that to go into the other one, to hold the other one. Okay. And I'm also going to trim this to a 1-inch spine to go into I forgot about the little flap. Smart. Well, I don't have to because I kept the flap actually, so I could just do this. That'll do. There we go. See? And then I need this, which is almost right. I can just give this a tiny trim. Sorry, I do a lot of talking to myself. I don't know if anyone else does that when they're crafting. It's crazy. And we said 8.5 was the height. So there we go. You should be just right. Fabulous. So now we're basically just repeating the same process as the first one. So glue my little spine reinforcement. Okay, and then I'm going to get another strip of this. This is going to be a bit smaller, the strip, because obviously we have a smaller spine. So here. Oh, I've got to keep an eye on the time. Got to go get my child from school soon. The old school run that never ends. Thankfully, half term is upon us. Doesn't mean I don't work less, unfortunately, but such is life. I need this, and I did. And again, I'm going to round the corners because I like it. And we're going to ink it. Okay, then leave it a second and begin with the inside papers again. So this time the width is 6 and 6.6 actually. The height is a little less than 8.5 this time. Or is it? Looks like 8.4. And the spine we said is 1 inch. So 1 inch by 8.4 cm. Yes, I mix. I'm terrible. I'm Canadian. And as a good Canadian should, I mix the metric and the imperial. So, yeah, that's just, it's just the way we roll. So, right, 8.4. I'm actually going to first trim this so it's even. I've got stuff, all different things. I don't know how it is now, actually, in Canada, because I haven't lived there for a while. But it used to be that, you know, we would measure our height in feet and inches and our weight in pounds, but we would drive in kilometers per hour. And it would be so many kilometers to a certain place. And yeah, and that's how we did it. Sometimes we had feet, sometimes we'd measure things in centimeters. but occasionally there would be the inches, especially with heights. I really don't know why we were kind of mixed a bit like that. So 6.6. And then inches, 1 inch. Okay. Let's test it out. Could do with a tiny bit less, just because it's getting on the edge there. So I'll give it just a slim, tiny trim. Perfect. And this one. Good. And this one. Also good. All right. And rinse and repeat. Corners. Sippity. I love this cup. Look at it. I don't know if you can see it without me spilling my tea, but a friend got it for me for my birthday. She knows me so well. I do love some good mushrooms. Oh, okay. And of course we need to update that as well. And on the inside too. And trim the extra. And voila, the smaller one is ready. And we have our chunky one. So now I'm going to turn this off a minute while I go and find the papers that I want to use for my signatures. And just before I go do that, just a quick note. This is a really, because it's so small, it's a really good way of using those offcuts that sometimes you don't, you know, that you cut off when you're doing other projects. So here, you know, I used a whole bunch of papers that were just offcuts. Alternatively, of course, you can use a regular piece of paper and just cut it down. It's totally up to you. See, this was just laying in my stash, so I popped it in, and you can make it how you want. So that's what I did with this one. And with this one, I just wanted it all to be lined. So I just took some pieces of lined paper that I had in my stash, of course. I gave them a round edge. I inked them just for fun and gave them some interest, and that's how that happened. So I did that. So I think I might do one with offcuts and one with just some plain paper, just to show you how it can be done. And then we will bind in the signatures, and I'll show you how I did this little cool crisscross pattern. So I will be right back. So this is a couple days later. I ended up not just collecting the kids, but then the kids were home, and then it became half term. So I'm just gonna do a little voiceover here of this last part. So I selected my papers. I decided to use recycled packaging, and
a few 6x6 Christmas themed scrapbooking papers that I had. I then prepared a template so that I would have everything I needed ahead of time to do this quickly. And here I'm just going to choose the color of the thread that I want to use to bind in the signatures. And then I will begin binding in each of the signatures. So for the first book with the smaller spine, I ended up deciding on using 3 signatures and simply sewing them in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which I don't really need to explain because I think we all know how to do that. So I'll just let you watch me get those in, and then we will do the thicker spine one together with that crisscross stitch. And that is the first book ready and done. Now on to the second book with the thicker spine. I decided to use 6 signatures for this book, and with this type of binding you're going to actually want to work on 2 signatures at a time. So I worked my way from the outside in. You can obviously work your way whichever way you want. And I started binding with signature 1 and signature 6. For this binding, I only used 2 holes, one at the top and one at the bottom of each signature, because it's small, so it doesn't really require a lot of holes to, to keep it bound in. So I just started by sewing from the back signature, from the bottom part of the back signature through the spine, and then I crossed over diagonally to the first signature, where I went through the top hole of the spine and the top hole of the signature. Then I went down to the bottom hole of the first signature, back through the spine, and went diagonally across again to the last signature at the top, went through the hole, went into the signature, and tied off the knot. You're basically now going to be repeating the same process, going inwards towards the center. So your next 2 signatures that you're going to work with are signature 5 and signature 2, and you're basically going to repeat the same process. And lastly, you're going to work on the two middle signatures, so signature 3 and signature 4, and you're basically doing exactly the same thing. So in through one, go diagonally across to the opposite, and up on the inside, and then diagonally across again, and then tie it off, and you're done. As we come towards the end of the video now, I just thought I would pop back on to say thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed it and that this inspires you to save your hot chocolate boxes too, as the nice cozy season is upon us. Let me know what you think about this little project and the whole Shop Your Trash series. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and happy creating. Bye bye.